So I hope you're doing well. This is going to be a chit-chatty video. I've asked you a few times, especially on Snapchat, what kind of videos would you want to see? Today's topic, as you can tell, is going to be on fake friendships. Fake friendships, I was going to kind of tie in with toxic relationships as a whole. So toxic relationship, toxic friendships. So I will kind of touch on that. A lot of you have asked for me to do how to deal with fake friendships and fake friends and that kind of situation. So I am going to touch on that because I feel like I can relate, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate too. So I'm just going to give you different signs. A fake friend never has your back, especially in public. They will never stand up for you despite whatever people say or what is going on. They will never have your back. They will tend to gossip about you to everyone, anyone and everyone. If this person can come to you and tell you about somebody else, they are very likely to do the same about you, to talk about you to someone else too. A fake friend does not support and will undermine you. You know how friends can be shady with each other, but like on a normal, like nice level, and we understand each other, we know it's just jokes. A fake friend would literally go to extremes to embarrass you, make fun of you, especially when you're there as well and you're around other people. If you're always the source of their entertainment, so it's something at your expense, that's not a good friend. A fake friend does not respect you. Maybe you have specific moral values or moral standpoints that might be different to them. They may not agree. You don't have to agree. I mean, friends don't always agree with everything, but they should respect. If a friend is always disrespecting you in different forms, whether it's for what you do, how you live your life, your beliefs, your moral values, your moral standpoint, that is not a good friend. A few of my friends know that I don't like swearing, and by swearing I mean the F word. Sometimes I do say the S-H-I-T word. I know, so I really can't talk, but for some reason the F word really like grates me. A lot of my friends that know me really well would they'll probably say it by accident and then go, oh, I'm so sorry, Jennie, for saying that. I didn't mean to say it. So that's someone who respects your moral standpoint. So a good friend, despite if they feel different, they will respect how you feel. A fake friend will take your kindness and they will misuse it. I've had situations where I was helpful, I tried to help someone, and they never return the favor. And for me, I never like to go back and ask for things that I'm owed or I'm expected to get back. Like they borrow something and never give you back. I know friends do that and it's nothing like big, but when it becomes a regular thing, that becomes wrong. So say you go out for dinner or something and they just happen to forget their wallet, or they happen to have not been paid, and you know their situation. There will be moments where you might not be able to do something, but then when it becomes a pattern and it becomes like a frequent thing and they don't return the favor when you're not in a good place, that's definitely a fake friend. If they're only looking for ways to get ahead themselves by being friends with you or by doing things and including you, they will only message you when they need something. They will only call you, they want to hang out with you, and then the conversation kind of moves towards what favor they want. Which brings me to the next point. A fake friend is take and never give. They want to figure out all the different ways they can get things from you and get stuff from you, but they would never do the same if it was you. They would never go out of their way for you, but would expect you to go out of their way for them. And when you don't, they get upset and call you a bad friend. So you need to make sure that you're not around people who only seem to want to have things done for them. But will always find it a bit of a chore, a bit too long. Oh, I feel like I don't think I can do it today, I'm a bit tired. Will always give you excuses why they don't have the time for you, or they can't get whatever you want done, or they can't do a favor for you. A fake friend will never be happy for you whenever you tell them something like a positive good news, like oh, I just got a job. A fake friend will be like, oh, so how did you get it? Oh, well, my job is a little bit more better than yours because it does this and this. A fake friend will always find a way to turn around your excitement to theirs. They always feel the need to have one up you because they feel like your happiness shouldn't be above theirs. They should always feel like they're ahead of you in everything. So even if you give them like good news, they'll always find a way to kind of turn it around and make it less of a big deal, less important, and kind of boost themselves up in the process as well. They should be able to share your accomplishments and share in your good news, whatever it is, however small it is, however big it is. They should always try and keep the focus for that particular situation on you. A fake friend will always expect you to drop everything and cater to their needs, but will never do the same. They want you to be the listening ear for their problems. They want you to do all these things for them, but only think about themselves, and they only think about ways that would benefit them. If it's out of their way, out of their comfort zone, they would not do it. They will say, no, I'm sorry, goodbye. Good friends and true friends will go out of their way. Even when it inconveniences them, they will still go out of the way, because that's just what a friend does. You just don't think about things, you just do it. A good person does not think. Sometimes they just want to help out in any way, form. But someone who isn't batting for you, who isn't for you, will always come up with excuses as to why it's an issue, it's a problem. And they will never want to go out of the way for you. But then when you don't do the same for them, you're the bad friend and you are horrible, or this and this and this. And they will always keep score, keep track of those moments. Oh, I remember when you didn't do this, or when you didn't do that. And they'll always try and get someone else against you too, and like corrupt their mind. The thing with friendships, there will always be situations where we might not be able to reach out or help in ways we would want to. Not because we're not a good friend, but because sometimes we also have our ish to get on with as well. So if that friend cannot understand that not every time, not every moment will be possible, then that's not someone you should have around you. They should always be understanding, because everybody goes through different things, and we should know that there might be situations where we might not be able to help out as well, as much as we would want to. Sometimes you can't always take on someone else's problem, because you have yours too. A fake friend is always shady. They will compliment you and shade you in the same sentence, and they can also turn insults into compliments, and then they'll make you feel like you overreacted, which is probably one of the worst ones. So say they insult you or something, and then you respond, they'll be like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, I didn't mean to upset you, or I didn't mean to whatever. Like, they always find a way to turn it around and make it like you're the one who, you know, took it the wrong way, or you're the one who overreacted. They'll find a way to make their insults like seem as it's a compliment, but it really isn't. Now this one I'm probably gonna get a lot of like comments about, but a fake friend lets you twerk in the club, records it on Snapchat, and then says, that's my best friend, that's my best friend. That's not your best friend, your best friend, your best friend. A good friend does not let her best friend twerk in public and then post it on their Snapchat. No, that's my take on it. I know a lot of you might think differently, but gotta protect your girl, you know? Your friend should always make you look good. There should never be a moment where they're agreeing with any negative comment or negative hate. They should always have your back. A fake friend never takes responsibilities for their actions. A fake friend never learns from their mistakes. If you have pulled them up a couple times, 3 times, and they're still doing the same thing, honestly, it is time to let these people go, because they are not going to change. A toxic friend always gets angry with you at the littlest thing, and always seem to be upset and angry with you and take things so out of proportion, and it feels like you can never do anything right by them. If you feel like you always have to apologize, you're always apologizing, always feeling like you have to feel remorseful every time, when sometimes you know it wasn't even warranted, that is not a good friend. If you have a friend that's always starting an argument for the sake of it, there's something wrong somewhere. You do not want to have someone like that in your life. Why? A good friend will definitely always let the person know when something is wrong, and won't leave it until it happens over and over again, until it builds up and then explode at you. I don't know if anyone's ever had that experience where you've had someone come at you and you're just wondering where the hell it came from, and they're listing all these different occasions where it's happened, and you're like, I had no idea you felt like this. A good friend will definitely be able to let you know when you've done something wrong, when you've done something wrong. You get those friends who would take a photo in a group and would only pick the picture that they look the best in and post it. And it's just like, okay, that's kind of like a natural thing to do, but with me, I don't mind taking 50 photos. As long as everyone looks good in it, then I'll post it. But a fake friend or not so nice friend will always make sure they're the one looking the best in a group photo. That is just shade. Shade, shade, shade. Now also, all these points could be coming from somewhere. It could actually be you that might have triggered something for them to act this way. So not everything is the other person's fault. We tend to blame other people for issues and situations, but sometimes it could be us that might have, either missed something, that maybe going through something that we haven't, noticed, and they're acting out, or something we had done in the past that we hadn't realized, and they're obviously taking it out on us. How do you deal with fake friends? How do you deal with a fake friend? You need to make sure that you are not the reason or the cause of this conflict, because sometimes it could actually be us and we don't realize. So if you can sit down and kind of go over everything and say to yourself, I have done everything in my power to be a good friend. I have gone out of my way. I have said positive things. I've always put them in a good light. I've always been there for them. I always never try to offload too much trouble or too much problems on them. Then you're definitely not the problem. You can always get a second opinion as well. You can always talk to somebody else and ask, and say these things, put these things out there, and they can advise you and tell you if maybe you're missing something somewhere, or if you are right, that you're not the reason, you're not the problem. Also, there are some situations where you can talk to them and you can resolve, but a good friend also should be able to add value to your life. A good friend should help you grow in aspects, should help you be a better person. Despite whatever road you might be on, it might be a different path, but somehow when you bounce off each other, you're both helping each other to grow in different aspects of your lives. Make a list of the positives and negatives of this person. If there are more negatives than positives, they are not meant to be in your life. This also goes for relationships like boyfriends, girlfriends. If you can list more negative things about them than positive things, that is pretty much a sure sign that they are not meant for you. Even in a group of friends, there still can be different personalities. I have different groups of friends, and depending on which group it is, my personality changes. So you could have a group of friends where you're a lot more loud, a lot more outgoing, and you can have another group of friends where you're the quiet one. Being able to accommodate each other is also a good trait to have. If your friends are not seeing that side of you, or not seeing your personality, and somehow always making you feel left out or alienated, you might need to find another group of friends who you can actually relate to and feel good with. Look at your personalities. Is there somewhere that you're clashing? If you can figure out where exactly you're clashing, and if you can work them out, then that's fine. I'm not saying you should completely scrap the friendship altogether. You just need to find out a way to kind of bounce off each other and, kind of compromise in certain aspects if it's worth it. A lot of people feel like they have so much history that they can't really let go of a friend or a situation or relationship. They always use the history card as a reason to keep going, and they use it as a reason to keep dealing with toxic people and toxic friends. If you can look at them and say that if I didn't speak to you today, my day would not be any different. My day will carry on smoothly. Then they don't have any value being in your life. There is no point having lots and lots of friends who are not good to you when you can have one good, loyal, true friend who is everything to you. As we get older, it's difficult to form new friendships, especially at this age. For me, for instance, like with people that I'm friends with now, a lot of them have their group of friends already, like say from uni or from high school or childhood or at work. For me, I don't have any high school or childhood like long-lasting friends. I have a couple from uni who have kind of stuck there. Like, I can say we don't talk every single day, but when we do see each other and speak, it's like we never stop talking. I feel like you don't always have to have a friend you talk to every single day to be classed as a good friend or a best friend. I have people who I see as my best friend who are not even in this country, who I see literally once a year, but I would class her or class them as my best friend because we have an understanding, we respect each other, we understand each other, we want the best for each other, and we never shade each other. Whenever we're apart, we still kind of, even though we don't speak on a regular basis, we still kind of have that thing going. If you were to go away for a week or two, will this person even bother to check up on you? Would they message? Would you even message them? If you don't miss this person, if you don't have any feelings towards this person when they're away, then you really don't need them in your life. There is no point. Like I said, it's difficult now because girls have these, they have these nights out, this group of friends. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do feel like I wish I had a big group of friends, a big group of girlfriends. But time and time again, I am now seeing people for who they are. And not just girls, you have guys too, but it's a lot worse for girls because like, they're supposed to have your back. If something was meant to happen with your boyfriend or your husband or whatever, your partner, they should be there for you. So with me, like I've said this so many times, I tend to get on well or get on better with guys, but with girls, it's only a really select few of people. And as time has gone on recently, probably the past year and a half, I have started seeing people for they have. There have been people who have completely changed the way I see them, have completely disappointed me as well. So it's like, you get to a point in your life where I'm 28 years old, like, I don't need to hold on to these kind of negative energy and negative people, negative situations, because it's not worth it. The usual way you would deal with it with someone like that would be to let them know, to have a sit down with them and talk through things. For me, if I feel like if I feel like the friendship isn't salvageable, there is actually no point having a conversation. If you feel like this person won't change, this person, if they weren't in your life wouldn't change, then there is no point having the conversation. People are different, I understand, but for me, I don't feel the need to go that extra and just have the conversation and I don't like confrontation. If I have a problem with you and I feel like you are a value in my life and I do see you as someone that I don't want to lose, I will have that conversation with you and I will speak to you about it. But if not, you won't hear from me. It gets to a point where you just don't care anymore. Like, you have to think about yourself. You are the only person in charge of your life and your happiness. Nobody is in charge of your happiness. If someone is making you constantly feel bad about yourself, horrible, always being mean to you, never lifts you up, never puts you in a good place, always talks about you, always makes you feel like, inferior, insecure, that is not a person in your life. It doesn't matter how many years you've known them, how long you've been around them, memories you've both shared. Memories can always be made again. You always meet people. You will always meet people. So I am constantly meeting new people, and it's like, there is actually no point holding on to that negative energy because it only drains you as a person. That person would keep on going as nothing has happened, but with you'll be feeling so bad, so sad about things, and it affects life, and life is too short to feel miserable because of somebody else. There will be times where you would probably see them out somewhere. For me, I am not really one to be fake and nasty. I would, say hello to you, but that would pretty much be it. I don't feel the need to have conversation because that's me not being who I am, because I don't like to be fake. If I don't like you, I don't like you. I won't entertain a conversation for the sake of it. If we happen to cross paths where it's not avoidable, I would say hello and that's it. I will always wish you the best, but I would never, try and pretend that things are fine when they're not. The company you keep is very, very important as well. Even though you might not be like a negative person, but if you're around negative people, you will eventually fall into that category and people will see you like that. If your personality, who you are, is making someone else feel bad about themselves, then that's you and not them misunderstanding you or not them getting you. Some people would say, oh, they just don't get me, they don't understand me, my personality. But if it should never be the case where your character is kind of belittling someone else or making someone else feel bad for their character. There should always be some sort of like understanding. You are only as good as the people you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with positive people, you become positive. If you're usually someone who complains a lot, and I raise my hand up for that, if you're always around someone like that, you eventually would just get emotionally drained. You would eventually start complaining and you wouldn't even realize that you're doing it. I try to be around people who are the opposite to me. So people who are a lot more of like a go-getter and people who are positive. Like I can mention a few people who I know, whenever I speak to them, they will always make sure, they'll always tell me off for being negative, or tell me off for thinking or feeling a certain way, because they're trying to get me for not being that person, for trying to make myself a better person in terms of that kind of character. Because nobody wants to be around miserable people. You would become miserable yourself. When you're around someone who's happy and smiling, you feel so happy. You feel like you want to be around them all the time. I absolutely love people who smile. Like, there's so many people, if I see you, like, it doesn't even matter what else you do, if you're always smiling, I have a really positive vibe. I always want to be around you. I always want to message you, even if it's just for something random. Your vibes just make me feel better. If you're talking to a friend that every time you speak to them, you are so emotionally drained, you have to try and I feel like you might have to remove yourself from that situation. You should never have to feel like exhausted after being around someone or being in the presence of someone. If the person is bringing you down, you should not be around that person. If you're a Christian, if you have a faith, praying about it as well is also a good thing. Like, what is God saying to you about this person? Because most of the time, you do get a lot of signs that someone is meant to be in your life and or they're not meant to be in your life. You might not be religious, you might not have any of that. Your gut instincts, most of the time, is never wrong. If you have a conscience, it would usually tell you what is right and what is wrong if you are a good person. It's better late than never, honestly, and you want to be safe than sorry. For me, I've had situations where someone else has told me about this person that they are not a good person, they're not a good friend, but somehow I haven't been able to see it. I make excuses until it's like too late, and I am completely disappointed, completely angry, and just completely used. So if someone can see something that you can't, sometimes it's really good to kind of like, have a think about it and just kind of see where they're coming from. I felt like I used to be a good judge of character. Like, I felt like I could pretty much figure you out from the get-go. But for me, because of the person I am, I tend to make excuses for people and give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, oh, this and this. Yeah, I feel like I'm just too nice. And I would always kind of say, oh, well, maybe because they're this, or maybe because of this, that's why they're doing this. But sometimes you kind of have to be like, no, like, you can't take that anymore. You have to stand up for yourself and stand up for what you believe in. So for me, friendships come and go. Sometimes it's sad, but sometimes you just have to keep it moving. You just have to move on. And just use that energy to focus on your actual friends. There's no point draining yourself on that fake friend, that horrible friend, and then your real friends get to suffer as a result of this. It is very hard, honestly, especially, like I said, especially if you've been through a lot with them, so many memories, so many experiences and stuff, but somehow things come to an end, and it is okay to let them go. Think about yourself. Think about how you feel at the end. If it's not something you're going to feel happy about, there's no point. There is actually no point of holding on to it, because it will only get worse. It is only if you know this person will change and will kind of take things into consideration and make things different. If they won't, if you know they won't, and they repeatedly keep offending and keep doing these things, there is no point. Let them go. If they're not there with your struggle while you're struggling, but expect to be there to celebrate with you when you're in success, that is not a good friend. Don't expect to be around me when I'm like enjoying and I'm trying to reap in my benefits, when you weren't there when I was like hustling and struggling to get there. Don't like, stay away. Like, are you kidding me? You know, like, are you actually kidding me? I feel like if someone keeps coming to you with the same issues, bringing up the same issues about yourself, then there is something wrong somewhere. It's now time for you to think about your life and think about things. What am I doing that is causing people to move away from me? If different people are saying the same things, there's clearly something wrong with you. It is as simple as that. Especially if these people aren't even related in any way, but somehow forming the same conclusions about you as a person. There is something wrong, and there is something you need to revisit. We also have to have forgiveness. Sometimes it can be difficult. If it is something you feel like you can still salvage the friendship, then yeah, forgiveness is also key as well. Even if they've done you wrong and you feel like you can't salvage the friendship, you still have to forgive, because if you don't forgive, God won't forgive you. You'll be the one who would be miserable while they are living life. So from the words of Lauren Conrad from the Hills, just say to them, I forgive you, but I also forget you. I let go of everything that's happened, but I don't intend to carry on and continue in this friendship. It's simple as that. You don't have to be angry and petty about it or horrible about it. You can let them know and you can convey the same things to them in a more put together way. So that's it for this video. I hope I was making sense. I didn't write these things down and I kind of wish I did, so I can probably structure them a lot better next time. But I hope you could take something from this. But this is something that I feel really, really passionate about, because a lot of people have been letting me down recently, and it's just something that I just feel like, why am I not seeing these things in the beginning? You know, why am I not seeing these aspects and these traits? But because of the person you are, if you're genuinely a nice person, you tend to, like I said, tend to give the benefit of the doubt, and sometimes you kind of need to be a bit more strict and a bit more of a bitch about things, if that makes sense, and just be like, no, I can't take it anymore. If you have any more ways or any more signs on how to spot a fake friend or how to deal with them, definitely leave them in the comment section. I'd like to read your experiences and how you dealt with them and everything. And if you have any more topics as well you want me to share, I will try and get that done as well. But I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.